Hey up, Sofa Squad, and welcome back. Welcome to On the Sofa. This is On the Sofa number 76. And yeah, I'm back. It's been a while, it's been a few weeks. There's a lot of stuff, happening in my personal life. And for now, at least, I'm able to, come back and chat about, chat about politics. And this evening, I've got Purple with me. Hello,
Hello.
hello, Purple. Have you been keeping up to date with British politics?
Honestly, I've been having a hard enough time even keeping up with American politics. So sorry, but yeah, I really haven't been able to keep up with our cast of clowns.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that because I don't know if you saw this week's thumbnail. There's some graffiti where four of the Tory prime ministers have been cast as clowns. Funnily enough,
Well, there was also a meme going around Twitter equating the U.S. Senate with a clown car, and yeah, it's pretty accurate.
yeah, yes, bringing the clowns indeed. Um, but there's a few. We've got a few items of news to talk about. We're going to start with the I don't know if you've heard of this, but a new immigration policy has just been passed recently. Yeah, this is the story. This is the stop the boats policy. It went through because of, as you know, the Tories have got I think they've got at least a 70-seat majority. So, whatever they want, whatever law they want to pass, they can pass quite easily. And so most of the Tory MPs voted for this. I think only a few abstained.
Yeah, it's what we refer to as a supermajority. When
Yeah,
one party has like 2/3 of the vote, so they can push through any bullshit they want.
yeah, and this is this is it's called the illegal migration bill, and basically the it basically stops asylum seekers from from coming here and claiming asylum. They don't even get a hearing.
Mm-hmm.
They will just get sent back. Sent straight. They will just get sent straight back, basically. And even if women or young girls or young boys, even or whatever gender, are here, against their will, have come over against their will and being forced into the modern, into modern slavery.
Mm-hmm.
They won't be allowed access to our modern slavery laws. They won't. So this
Yeah, and you
effectively,
had the government protections.
So this effectively makes modern slavery legal.
Yeah.
That's basically what they're saying. And according to the Daily Mirror, the headline says this: Suella Braverman plans to lock up children, but her plan won't work, MPs told. MPs were told the illegal migration bill will make the problem worse, while embarrassingly for the government, former Prime Minister Theresa May was among the Tories to speak out against it. Now, when Theresa May was Home Secretary, she sent these vans round, which became known as go home vans. which had a message on them saying, if you're here illegally, you have to go home, basically. And she was, when she was, she was implicated in the Windrush scandal. People who came over here in the 50s were being deported. She was, she was right at the center of that. So for her to speak out against this, it's messed up. Yeah, this is some messed up shit. If she's speaking against it.
Yeah, we had a similar thing here because under the immigration policies Trump passed, his wife would have never been able to come to this country.
Yeah, exactly. And Suella Braverman, under this law, her parents wouldn't have been able to come. And someone will have to correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister, his parents wouldn't have been able to come. Priti Patel's parents, she was the Home Secretary before Braverman. Her parents wouldn't have been able to come. And yes, there's a political commentator, Mehdi Hassan, I think his name is. He calls this the drawbridge mentality.
Yeah, I saw that phrase thrown around for years.
Yeah, they've come over here, by through the safe and legal routes, or their parents did, and now they've drawn the drawbridge up, so that I'm okay, I'm here.
Yeah,
but I'm not going to let anyone else come here.
Not going to let anybody else follow them.
So,
and
sorry, go on.
The famous people aside, one of the problems the U.S. ran into with the immigration policy is people don't want to admit it, but we depend on the immigrants to do a lot of the really low-paying jobs that Americans won't do.
Yeah.
So with our stricter immigration policy, one of the results was that when it came to harvest time, the California farmers couldn't find enough workers, and 20 to 30% of the crop rotted in the fields because they couldn't find people to pick it.
Yeah.
Because normally that would have been people coming up from Mexico to do that.
Yeah, well, this is it. Not only that, it's a similar story here in the UK, but not only that, but a lot of our nurses, doctors, surgeons are immigrants. Have come from India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Africa, and African nations as well.
Yeah, we have that here too. That you go into any hospital or clinic, and you're going to see some people from India and Pakistan who came to America to get their training.
Yeah, and I really think the NHS is on its knees already because of 13 years of Tory failure. Starting with austerity, brutal austerity measures, and the poor handling of COVID, and just the bad policy decisions that they've made over the years. But it would be even worse if you were to send these people back to the countries that they initially came from. Because we'd lose a lot of talented doctors, nurses, and surgeons, and dentists as well.
Yeah.
But
well, and over here, part of the health crisis is this has been going on for literally decades. Just a severe shortage of nurses. Just people who are, and a lot of the nurses are people who are in medical training to try and get a higher degree. But the hospitals need people to, clean the bedpans and basic stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can't get around that.
No. And a lot of people who work in the care sector, you know, are immigrants, you know, as well.
Yep.
But the thing is, the Tories have got they've got nothing left. They've run out of ideas. They've run out of decent ideas, of decent policies, and they're dropping in the polls, and they are desperate to hold on to votes.
Yeah.
They're desperate to win especially to win the votes of right wingers, and so that's why this policy has been put in place. Because
people are realizing their policies aren't working, so all they can do is find somebody to scapegoat.
Yeah, and I'm going to stop sharing this. I think we've seen enough of this one. But Gary, do you know Gary Lineker?
I don't recognize the name now.
He was he was a famous footballer. I don't know who took I was going to say he was as famous as O.J. Simpson, but I don't know if that's a very good comparison or not. But before things went pear-shaped,
Yeah.
he.
I don't pay any attention to sports at all, so I don't know any of the players.
Well, I don't much either, but anyway, he was a huge footballer. He played for England, and then he became when he retired from football, he became a football commentator for the BBC, and he's made a lot of money from that as well. And he in his spare time he tweets political. He makes political tweets. he tweets criticizing the Tories, and he made a tweet recently comparing the language that certain Tory politicians use, like invasion, swarm, infestation, saying that claiming that millions of people want to come over and seek asylum here, and all the rest.
All the fear-mongering trigger words.
Yeah, he compared that language to the language that was used in 1930s Germany. And Twitter exploded. All the right wingers threw an epic temper tantrum. It was all over the front. It was all of the front pages of the tabloid newspapers. It was talked about on every mainstream news program. They were saying, Gary Lineker, how dare he compare MPs to the Nazis? But that's not what he did. He never used the word Nazi. He never used the word Holocaust or anything. He simply made a demonstrable statement.
I'm just quoting them. You're drawing the conclusions.
Yeah. But instead of the focus being on, being where it should have been, on this horrendous policy, this illegal migrant bill, it was on Gary Lineker, and people they were saying he should be fired. He should be fired from the BBC. The BBC should, and they did. They did suspend him for a couple of days. But then what happened was, all the other presenters on Match of the Day, the show where show he works for, they all said, right, we're walking out as well in solidarity.
Well, that's good that they were willing to back him up.
Yeah. So there was a show without any pundits. They just showed the footage of the matches without any commentary. And so they caved and let Gary Lineker come back, much to the chagrin of of the right wing of the right wing bigots. So that was hilarious. I found that quite amusing.
Yeah.
But going back to the story, this Suella Braverman, she went on one of these news programs, and she said that this law doesn't break this policy doesn't break the law, but it does. She even admitted as such. If you look at the bill, she actually said on this bill that she struggled to say that to definitely say that it doesn't break international law. Nevertheless, I would like this bill to go through anyway. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what she was saying.
Yeah,
in this
well, and
bill.
just because it's legal doesn't mean it's ethical.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yes, exactly. But she pretty much admitted in the wording of this bill that it does break international law. So to go on TV and try to gaslight the nation, by saying it doesn't break the law is, well, that's the Tory handbook, playbook. That's what they do.
Yeah.
But it won't. It probably. I think it goes back to the House of Lords, and they'll probably want to. Hopefully they'll. What's the word I'm looking for? I can't find. I can't think of the word the wording, but they'll want to
order revisions at least.
Yeah. Order revisions and debate it but it'll probably still get passed anyway.
I'm sure it will in some form. It's just a matter of what parts of it they can edit out.
But but even if it does, they'll probably run into trouble when it comes to the European Court of Human Rights. They'll say, no, sorry, no, we're not going to allow you to do this. It's not legal. But Suella Braverman has gone on the record of saying she wants to get rid of the European Court of Human Rights, and other more right-wing Tory MPs.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that's just an extension of the whole, getting out of the EU thing.
Yeah. But hopefully, because with the being a part of the European Court of Human Rights, we have the right to freedom of speech, the right to the right of we have freedom of religion, freedom. There's lots of other things as well. I should have done a bit more research into, but anyway, but they want to get rid of all of that.
Yeah,
and I'm sure if they could, they would.
Also they're not going to mention until it's too late. That people have to realize that a good reason to be part of this International Court of Rights is that it will protect the British citizens traveling abroad.
Yeah. A very stable Milkenstall is saying anything with an E in it is evil.
A stool.
Yeah. Anyway, so we'll see. We'll just have to see how this. But they have to, like I was saying, they have to throw this red meat to the bigoted voters that they're hoping will vote for them in the next election.
Yeah.
But we'll see how this pans out. Staying with Suella Braverman. Suella Braverman orders woke police to protect free speech and focus on fighting crime. This is an exclusive to the Daily Express. The Home Secretary will introduce new legislation that requires forces to focus on serious offences rather than policing social media. Well, we've got something else from Stool, another intervention from Stool here. Every country in the world is a member of the ECHR, except for Russia and Belarus. It is Raab's wet dream to remove us from it. He hates us having rights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, clearly the Tories don't like the idea of, anyone else being an oversight of them.
Yeah.
That they're not the top tier.
Yeah. But there was a time when people like Patel, Braverman, Raab, they were on the fringe of the party. But now they are the party.
Well, it's the same thing that happened here, with Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and DeSantis.
Yeah.
They used to be the insane fringe, and now they're the group that's got control of the reins.
Yeah, and now their hands on the levers of power. Scary times.
Yep. And everybody else is trying to pacify them because they're afraid if they don't, they won't have a chance of getting reelected.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And yeah. Here's Suella Braverman. She wants she wants free speech protected, so long as they agree with her. That's all these people on the right. The right wing, free speech brigade. They're the same people who were complaining about Gary Lineker's and trying to shut down his free speech. Which I find incredibly ironic. They're all for free speech, as long as the people speaking agree with them. But when people criticize them, no, cancel them, sack them, shut them down. It's the hypocrisy for me.
Yep.
Raab believes that the UK government should be answerable to no one, and that we should all just trust our government because they know best, and we must never complain. Oh yeah, because the government is so trustworthy.
Yeah, well, here we've gotten even worsely derailed because since they tried to overthrow the last election, now they're telling people here that they shouldn't trust the government. They should just trust the Republican Party.
Yeah. Yeah. And here, we've got people like Lee Anderson and Jonathan Goulis, who, under normal circumstances, would be in their mum's basement, tweeting, tweeting, right wing bollocks from their mum's basement, and now in the forefront of the Tory party. I mean, Lee Anderson is the deputy chairman for crying out loud. This, scary times, scary times.
Yeah, and you wonder why everybody can't see what a nutcase they are and people keep voting for them.
It's but at least we got Brexit done. Yeah, great
Did you? Is
days.
that finally over with?
Well, apparently, I mean, but that remains. This remains to be seen. Whether Rishi Sunak's, what he calls the Windsor framework for the Northern Ireland, which is supposed to solve the Northern Ireland Protocol. He's got these red lanes and these green lanes. He's got, I think, if I think if I understand it correctly, you got red, the red, trade going through the red lane area will have checks, but trade going through the green lane area won't get checks. So that makes things a bit easier. But we'll see. We'll it's early days, and we'll see how this pans out. But
Yeah, well, that's I've been hearing you've been having shortages of a lot of things in the grocery stores.
But even this is it's just a temporary fix. It's not a permanent fix by any stretch of the imagination. But at least it's not as much as a shit show and clusterfuck as it was. So
yeah, the several mile long lines of drivers waiting to be checked.
Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. And talking of Sunak, this this really grinds my gears. We're in the middle of a cost of living crisis. People can't afford to heat their homes, and we've got Rishi Sunak. He's upgraded he said his electricity grid upgraded to heat his private pool.
I did hear about this one. Yeah.
Prime Minister will pick up cost of upgrade work in North Yorkshire, and no suggestion he received preferential treatment. So there's a photo there of his mansion.
No suggestion he received preferential treatment, but even if he's paying for this, that means that the workers and resources were put on that job rather than some other town that they should have been doing.
Yeah. It says here, Rishi Sunak's new private heated swimming pool uses so much energy that the local electricity network had to be upgraded to meet its power demands, The Guardian has been told. While many Britons are facing increased electricity bills and are trying to limit their energy use, extra equipment was recently installed in a remote part of North Yorkshire to provide extra capacity from the national grid to the Prime Minister's constituency home. I mean, can you learn to read the room, Rishi?
Yeah, that just makes him sound like a grifter.
I mean, at the very least, the optics are terrible.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look good at all. It's it just doesn't it's not good.
Yeah, well, I know that Yeah, there have literally been people there freezing to death in their own homes because they couldn't afford to heat it.
Yeah. And but what was I going? I was going to say something else about this. Oh yeah, they're for a government who have promised that they're going to they're supposed to be aiming for net zero, and yeah, he's taking he's using energy to heat his own private pool.
Yeah,
That's not um, good for the environment, is it?
yeah, telling the working class people they need to conserve, and then he goes something like that.
Yeah, yeah, the hypocrisy. Uh, it beggars belief. This the article goes on. This follows Sunak's construction of a new heated swimming pool, gym, and tennis court in the grounds of the manor house he occupies at weekends. Engineers had to install a substantial amount of equipment and a new connection to the national grid that runs across open fields. Anyway, well, what do you think of this?
Like you say, it's very tone deaf.
Yeah.
That he's just not paying attention at all to what the average people have to deal with. He's just trying to make his own place more plush.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah. How the other half live, eh?
Well, how the other 99% live anyway.
Yeah. Yes. The other the other big news this week is we had our annual budget. Yeah, and but the leader of the opposition, Keir Starmer, he branded the Tories turnips in savage response, and to Jeremy Hunt, the Chancellor. Labour leader Keir Starmer skewered Jeremy Hunt's budget after the Chancellor made a series of reforms, including to childcare and pensions. And they've got some bullet points here. UK will still see biggest fall in living standards since the 1950s. Chancellor Jeremy Hunt announces free childcare for all under fives, which is a policy they got from the Labour Party. Hunt announces reform to childcare, fuel duty frozen for the 13th year in a row. The OBR forecasts inflation will fall from 10.7 to 2.9%.
Okay, when you're referring to fuel duty, that's not a phrase that's heard over here. I take it that's some type of a tax they put on the fuels?
I think so, yeah. I'm not very au fait on this, to be honest, but I think
maybe
that's
School knows something more about it.
He may do. He seems to have gone quiet, but we'll see if he chips in. But Keir Starmer branded the Conservatives as turnips and said Jeremy Hunt's budget was dressing up stagnation as stability, claiming it put the country on path of managed decline. Chancellor Jeremy Hunt said the UK will not enter into a recession this year during his budget for growth in the Commons today. He also announced that the fuel duty will be frozen for the 13th year in a row and that 4 million households will see energy bills slashed as prepaid customers will no longer pay more than direct debit households. Mr. Hunt also announced that energy bills frozen at $2,500 a year will be extended for another 3 months. So there are some good things in the budget, but you know, but as I said, Keir Starmer has he called it dressing up stagnation and stability, and he says that it puts the country on a path of managed decline, and so, but we'll see. I think it could be. Here we go. These policies don't take effect for another 2 years after the next election, and the free childcare is a lie. So, okay, well, Stoll obviously knows a lot more about this than I do. So, yeah, so what it doesn't say in this article is that there's going to be tax break. There's going to be tax breaks for the top earners, as well in this budget. And what it also didn't say in that article is that Jeremy Hunt has plans to get people over 50, who retired early, back into work as well. I'm sure if they had their way, we would all work until we died, basically.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's copying whose homework, but DeSantis has proposed the same thing here.
Has he? Oh, right, okay.
It's actually been proposed here that some stricter work requirements that people won't even be allowed to collect food stamps if they think they're capable of working and they're not doing it.
Stoll is saying he wants to send unemployed people over 50 to re-education camps. Right. You may have to elaborate on that one. But I don't. That wouldn't surprise me if that was true. But we'll see. But like Stoll says, I mean, they can promise these things because they probably won't get to deliver them because they'll be out of Parliament and the Labour Party will be in. Either next year or the year after, depending on when they decide to hold a general election. He's called them boot camps, not joking. Okay, I'll take your word for that, Stoll. That's interesting. But
well, and as Stoll said about the policies not taking effect until after the next election, so
yeah,
they're going to try to wave that over people's heads that you got to keep us in so we can put through these policies that we promised.
Yeah. Yes. But we'll, we'll. I mean, but it's looking like the polling is not good for the Tories, as I've said. It's looking like Labour will win by landslide in the next general election, but a lot can happen in 2 years. Stoll is saying, and they're making sanctions tougher for everyone on universal credit. Yeah, I've heard that as well, actually. Yeah.
Now, what's universal credit?
Universal credit is that's what I'm on at the moment. That is the benefit that you get paid if you're unemployed. and you harder to avoid is put in brackets. So it's hard. In other words, it'll be harder to avoid getting sanctions. And if they sanction you, if they in order to continue to get your benefits, your universal credit, you have to be actively seeking work. You have to be applying for so many jobs a week. And you have to show evidence of this. And if they feel that you're not doing enough to get back into work, they can sanction you. And this means that you could have your benefits suspended.
Okay. Yeah, the unemployment insurance system here works pretty much the same.
You could have it suspended while they put it to the decision maker to decide what to do with you, basically. And you could even have your benefits stopped altogether. Still, £35 35.5 hours a week of actively seeking work. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, so you're supposed to spend almost as much time as you would on a full-time job.
Yeah, exactly. But you can be sanctioned for just turning up at your bi-weekly a few minutes late. Yes, that is true. And the thing is, it's at the discretion of your work coach as well. If you turn up for your meeting just a few minutes late, they can suspend your benefits. So you're screwed. But most of the time, my work coach keeps is late. Sometimes up to 15 minutes late. Sometimes there have been times when my work coach hasn't turned up at all, and somebody else has had to see me. There's no, my time can be wasted, but woe betide me.
Yeah.
If I'm a few minutes late, because the bus might be late, or or if there's an emergency, with one of the girls.
Well, you're getting free money for not working. You've got nothing to do but sit around all day.
Apparently so. But I'm expected to apply for at least 2 jobs a day, and it's got to the stage where I end up applying for jobs that I know full well that I'm not even going to get an interview for. Because I'm competing with people half my age.
Yeah.
People who don't have complex mental health issues, who aren't autistic, who don't have kids, and can be fully flexible with their hours. But I'm applying for them anyway, knowing full well that it's highly unlikely that I'll even get an interview, just to meet my daily quota.
Yeah.
So that I won't lose my benefits.
Yeah, and that's what happens with those systems, that you just got people worrying about trying to tread water and keep what they have, that they don't have any time to actually try and make an improvement on anything.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's hundreds of people like me in a similar situation. I'm sure of it. But anyway, that's it for tonight. That's all. Those are all the that's all the stories I had lined up. But
we've been almost an hour here.
Yeah. Stored is saying thousands. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure thousands of people I mean, I was being a bit conservative with, by saying 100, conservative with a small c. I hasten to add, with my numbers. Yeah, but yeah, thousands is probably near the mark. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, all things being equal, we should be back next week. But I'll let people know otherwise. If that's not going to be the case. But yeah, hopefully, I think we'll be back next week. And thanks for joining me, Purple. Much appreciated.
I try to whenever I can.
Yeah. And thanks for Stool for thank you Stool for your contributions. And yeah, on that bombshell, we will say goodbye for now, and we'll see you next time.